Hey guys, today we're going to take a look at yet another free-to-play team. So this is going to be version 2 of the Trio Balance team, and just to reiterate, I wouldn't make it a point in setting up a team specifically for this buff, as it's not good enough to make or break a team. They're just a little extra benefit to have, and then plus splitting the team into just a few factions frees up an entire another faction, because once you start awakening your units, like see, this is a factionless food, so any 3-star from any faction. This one was a famed 1-star from any faction, so it just helps ranking everybody up. And I'll have a couple more team video ideas as it gives free-to-play players just all the more options, because you just got to use what you get. You can't pinpoint units that much. You can for a couple of them, and again, just to keep things fresh, I'm going to jumble up the order. So starting off with spot 6, we actually have a couple choices. First off, Guan Yu. Should know him by now. He's got a really high single target damage skill, and if the target's killed, he casts basic attack again. He can also pursue when allies use basic attacks, and he can counter when he's attacked. He reduces enemy defense, buffs his crit rate, plus his crits deal bonus damage equal to 5% target's max HP. Just really good single target damage dealer. But if you find that you already have enough damage on your team from the other 2 damage dealers, then you could check out Liu Bei as your second option. So he heals all allies, grants a shield, and gains damage reduction. When the shield breaks, they perform basic attack and they also get healed. You can see that right here. The shield expires, it'll convert into HP as well, so it's basically another shield. He'll also be buffing Shu, Immortal, and Holy heroes, so he'll be buffing your Guan Yu. If you do have 1 or 2 Immortal or Holy heroes on your team, like this is mostly for a free-to-play team, but you might be a low spender, you might have grabbed like IMT Lu Bu or IMT Sima Yi, so that'll help there as well. Also, when allies drop below 30% HP for the first time, they will get an extra shield and receive more healing while it's active. There's pretty good survivability support here, and the extra healing coming from him and Zhuge Long will work really well with this potential 2-3. Excess healing from HP regen or heal converted into a shield equal to the same amount, up to half your HP, so that's just even more shields coming from that. And seeing as we got Lu Bu up here, he is going to be our 4th spot. Pretty much the main free-to-play damage dealer at this point. So to beat a dead horse into the ground, this is what he does. Doesn't have a rage skill, but instead has a basic attack, and it's super strong. Gains a 10% damage boost to his basic attack up to 200% for every rage he has. After 4 basic attacks, he unleashes an attack that deals true damage equal to half of his attack to all enemies, and whenever an ally uses a skill, there's a 20% chance for him to pursue with a basic attack, so he's going to be doing a lot of basic attacks. And it gives him a 50% chance to gain 1 rage, which he's going to be needing. But his 16-star trait is what makes him good. When he's over 7 rage, basic attacks deal 50% additional damage to adjacent enemies. When it's over 13, which is really the cap you want to hit, deals 50% additional damage to all other enemies, effectively turning his single target basic attack into an AoE. Now on this team, we don't have nearly as much rage support, so you're probably not going to be hitting the 13 rage, so you can swap him out. It all depends if you have this fish here. Is it the Ray? Yeah, so you can gain 2 initial rage. He won't gain the rage from casting skills though. And then depending how high you have your Mighty Tiger up, as you can see, mine is very, very low. So another really good option, might even be the better option, seeing as we probably won't be hitting the rage caps that we need for Lu Bu. So Yuan Shao is actually like a super underrated damage dealer. So he's got an AoE, which gives him a stack of command, which buffs his attack by 3% up to 12 times, which is 36% attack buff. He's also going to be getting those at a 50% chance whenever an ally inflicts a debuff, which we do have a couple debuff inflicting allies on this team. He's also going to be giving a command buff to an ally whenever they lose HP, and himself, which will keep his command buffs topped up. It can also trigger basic attacks at 7 stacks, and at 12 stacks, each attack ignores 30% of the target's defense. He also gains 5% increased damage per stack of command up to 40%, so he's got that attack buff for himself and an ally, and then extra damage for himself, and then he can actually cast the skill twice. So he's a really good damage dealer, super underrated. I didn't know about him until like just over a week ago. I actually kind of swept him under the rug, so that's my bad. But he'll probably slot into this team a little bit better. And a quick interruption from my sponsor. So if you are spending in the game, doesn't matter how much it is, check out my affiliate code from Aptoid. You'll get 10 to 30% back on your purchases. Everybody's going to start at 10%. You can work your way up. The more you spend, the more you'll get back. That bonus you get back will go into your wallet, and then you can use that to buy packs in the game. There are some weekends where you get an extra 5% as well. So even just starting out that weekend, you would get 15% using my code. So yeah, if you're interested, there will be be a link in the description below with a video showing you how to use it. Now let's get back to the team video. So next up, our first spot, surprise, surprise, it's Zhuge Liang again. So he's going to be here for generating rage. He's going to be healing, buffing attack. That can apply twice, up to 15% in total. First one's 10%, second one's 5%, because he can cast his skill twice. 50% chance to be cast again, but it's only at half the original value for the buffs. That does not apply to this crit rate and crit damage though, but he also does that. And yeah, he's just going to be supplying rage for our team, which is super necessary. So the second spot, we're going to actually have two options. First one being Lu Xun, which is going to give us a couple benefits. So first off, he's going to be landing a bunch of stuns and burns with his skill. I don't think it didn't say it burned in here, right? Yeah, no. So it just says in his talents right here, skill cast 50% chance to apply a burn for 2 turns if they're not already burned, which we're gonna need for this team. So yeah, he's gonna be landing more stuns with his basic attack as well as his skill. So in addition to Lu Lingqi, who's also on this team, we're gonna be having a lot of debuffs on the enemies, as well as both of them being able to stun, so that at least a couple enemies should be stunned every turn, which is gonna massively increase your survivability and damage, because now that there's 2 debuffers on the team, we have even more damage coming from the oarfish. But he's here mostly for his burns. The stuns are just like icing on the cake. If you don't have him, another option would be Zhou. So he's also going to be applying burns. He has an AoE that applies burns, and his basic attack can apply burns as well. Both have a 50% chance. He also increases all burn damage when he's on the field by 30%, and they have a 40% chance to heal all allies as well when they go off. He'll also help spread the burns around with his chain debuff right here, which also gives him 2 debuffs just like Lu Xun, so we're not losing any damage from the oarfish. So our 5th spot is going to Sun Ce. His AoE has a chance to be cast 3 times per turn. Chance increases for each burned enemy, which is another reason why we needed those burns coming from either Lu Xun or Zhou. He also gains crit rate for each burn stack on the enemy, so it's going to keep his crit rate pretty high, so he's going to be doing a lot of crit damage. And when allies inflict burns, Sun Ce gains a stack of Scourge, which increases damage by 3.5%, so it's up to 35% damage increase right there. At 4 stacks, he also gains 50% crit damage, and seeing as he's going to have a huge crit rate buff from each stack of burn on the target, that's really going to add up. And then factor in that he can attack 3 times in a row. Plus at 8 stacks, each skill is also going to restore his HP. What you really want him here though for is his ability to detonate all burn stacks. So after casting a skill, if the target's burned, trigger all the remaining burn damage instantly, and then he's just going to reapply the burn for another 2 turns. Just the only downside to him is that he needs somebody to apply burns for him in the first place, but we've already got that figured out with the previous unit. So finally, our 3rd spot is going to be Lu Lingqi. She's going to be landing some debuffs. So it says 10% here, her talents increase it, so she's going to make it so the enemies deal 25% less damage, take 25% more damage. They'll get militant, which stops them from using pursuit or basic attacks, or silence, and then she can also stun with her talents. She's going to be helping restore rage, so that's another way Lu Bu could potentially work in this team with Zhuge Liang, the Mighty Tiger, that fish, Lu Lingqi. He might get enough rage, but if you find that he's not quite hitting that 13 or at least the 7, right, then Yuan Shao would be a good substitute for him. She's also going to be buffing Warlord Immortal and Holy Heroes, 10% damage, 10% damage reduction, and 20% attack and 30% defense. Plus landing all of her debuffs. What did I say about the stun? Yeah, right there, stun. So it changes the silence into a stun. Then for each debuff on the target, allies deal more damage. Then you pair that with the oarfish, just works out super well with this team because we got either Lu Xun or Zhou applying burns, stuns, or chain, and then her applying her debuffs, also increasing the damage to debuff targets, plus using the oarfish. It's good. Now, since we aren't using any wave faction units here, you can use them for ranking up units past 15 star. Because like I showed earlier in the video, you just need blank food after a certain point. Although I still wouldn't use like your core units, because you might end up needing them in the future because you can link them to IMT units. So at least save Zhang Lao. He's a pretty good damage dealer. Might as well level him up there. Sima Yi as well. You can use Gojia and Qiao Qiao. They're less important. Gojia is going to fall off quicker. Qiao Qiao does supply rage and has invincible shields, but it kind of boils down to whoever you have the most copies of, right? So let's go over the fish real quick. As this is a free-to-play team, again, I'm not going to have a bunch of rare fish in there. Moonlight Jellyfish is a must-have though. Damage taken capped at 50% of your max HP per attack. This creates a hard damage cap in the game that otherwise wouldn't be there. So say you have 1,000,000 HP, you get hit for 1,000,000 damage, you're only taking 500,000. Zhuge Long gets a heal off, now you're at 550,000, you get hit for 1,000,000 damage again, still only gonna hit 500,000, you're still alive with 50,000 HP, so you've survived 2 hits that normally would have killed you outright. So you need this on your team for everybody. So make this your priority. King Crab can work as well for Lu Bu, Yuan Shao, Sun Si, Guan Yu, works for all your damage dealers. If you have a chance to get any limited fish, Salamander's really good. Upon death, grants 1 unbreakable invincible shield, unbreakable, which is important, to the lowest HP ally and the highest attack hero for 1 turn. Golden Trout can be used for Sun Si, although I wouldn't make this a priority over Salamander by any means. But even just 1 copy of it gives up to 25% extra damage. This won't work for Lu Bu, will work for Yuan Shao and Sun Si. So if you're using both of them and you have a chance to grab 1 copy of it, nothing wrong with that. And again, the turtle here, even just grabbing 1 copy to throw in Sun Si to make sure he doesn't get stunned in the first round or something like that, that will work out good. Or not Sun Si, Zhuge Long, just to make sure nothing happens to him and he can get his skill off to give everybody rage so they can actually do some damage. Stingray, great in Guan Yu, pretty decent for everybody else. It at the very least increases the crit rate and crit damage. Sun Si's already going to have high crit rate, so extra crit damage just gives him that much more damage because he's probably going to be critting. Mullet, don't use that. Ray, you can use that on Lu Bu if you need to. Timon, also really good for damage, especially for Sun Si, because he does 3 attacks and a turret can do 3 attacks, right? So skill cast increased damage dealt by stacking 21% and reduce defensive enemies by 10% for 7 turns, also stacking. So 3 attacks in 1 turn, 61% damage buff, 30% damage reduction, really good for him. Manta as well can be good for any of your damage dealers. Hammerhead can be used for Lu Bu, and I think I said this in the last video, but I do have a fish tier list, and at the end of that tier list I have a section just for Lu Bu for like free-to-play players. So if you want to check that out, if you feel like I didn't explain enough in this just quick section of the fish, just go watch my tier list. I go in depth, I rank all the fish. I split them into tiers, so you can just ignore some, like the rare tier, if you are really not spending any money and struggling to get any rare fish. I don't know if I explained that very well, I just woke up. So yeah, go check that out if you need. Whale Shark can also be good, just thrown on everybody, gives them even more shields. So if you are end up using Liu Bei in this team, along with Zhuge Long, using that 2-3 potential, and then this fish, you're gonna have a crap ton of shields on your team. Cod, I wouldn't bother using this. There's really no reason to, even for Sun Si or Luzun or Zhou. Grass Carp you can throw on if you want. Bass and the Dapple Grouper for Zhuge Long. Same with the Snakehead for Zhuge Long. If you don't have the turtle, just throw 1 of these on him. This, Sturgeon, a lot of these burn ones, there's 1 good burn one, the rest of them you can just stay away from really. Dappled Chub for Sun Si, Yuan Shao, Guan Yu. Herring for all your damage dealers. We have the Oarfish for all your damage dealers as well. Since we're gonna have a lot of debuffs on this team, this fish would be great. Rice Eel, you can if you have empty spots, because it restores 7.5% max HP per turn starting from the 2nd turn when you have it maxed out. So this can keep your team alive a lot longer as well. This one is good for your burn units. Burn effects applied by heroes prevent the targets from gaining invincible shields and increases burn damage by 15%. This one is awesome. And then yeah, small fish should be pretty self-explanatory at this point. So that is yet another team video down. I have 2 more in the works for free-to-play players, and then I'll probably make one for pay-to-win players as well. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below if this helped you out, and I'll catch you next time. See ya.